welcome back to the Fit and Frugal podcast. I am your host, Tawni Nguyen. We're in a different setting today. We're checking out the PodSpot LV. Shout out to the boy Luis over there.
Yes.
Today I have here with my friend Jay. So you want to tell me or tell them a little bit about yourself before I butcher their entire thing?
All right, yeah. So Jay Mirando on Instagram, Vegas Flipper Jay. I'm a flipper out here in Las Vegas. I have my own podcast too. So I had Luis on the podcast. So I saw this when it was a blank room. So I'm loving it right now.
Yeah.
I love this whole entire thing.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, flipper out here. I'm from East Coast originally. I was started in the casino business. So, I spent 7 years throwing cards at people and got into real estate, was a realtor, and then got into flipping houses. And that's
Throwing
what I
cards
do.
at people, the ninja cards?
Right at them.
Yeah.
I was mainly a craps dealer, but it sounds more fun to throw cards at people.
Yeah, so now you're used to like the business card ninjas, right, at networking events? The one that hit you for like a 30-second intro, like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Sean Smith. I do this. Here you go.
Call me if you need anything.
To the next person.
Holla.
Thanks for the relationship, buddy. That told me a lot.
Yeah. So how did you make the move out here from the East Coast? What was that moment like?
I remember when I had enough. So I was plowing like 1.5 foot of snow out of the driveway just to get to work. So when you're plowing snow for like 2 hours just so that you can go and work, you're like, I'm sick of this. It'll never happen again. So, dealer on the East Coast making like $44,000 a year. I knew that when I went to the West Coast that I could make twice as much money, pay no money in state tax, and never see snow again. And on top of that, it was like 2011 at the time, right? Or when I made the decision, it was 2010. I ended up moving out here in 2011. But at the time, the world was burning, right? We're still recovering from the Great Recession. And I'm like, man, anybody who moved to, can we curse on this podcast?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay. Anybody who moved to Miami, Phoenix, or Las Vegas could clean the fuck up. So where am I going to go? I can't get a job in Miami except for a waiter. Can't get a job in Phoenix except for as a waiter. Let's go to Las Vegas where I have a career. So I did it.
Did you start as a card dealer here?
Yeah, I was a dealer, craps dealer. So I was a craps dealer at the M for like a full year. And then I was working the M and the Mirage, doing 2 jobs at once. And then on my 23rd birthday is when I got hired at the Win. I spent the last 4 years at the Win. So do you know Jason Griggs?
I do.
We got hired at the same day at the Win.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And now he's big into STRs, right?
Yeah.
All over
short-term
Henderson
rentals.
and...
Yeah. Our employee number was like 1 away from each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about your podcast.
So, I want to talk about the experience because we were just talking for a little bit of how, you forget to turn the microphone on for a little bit. You forget to turn the camera on. There's all the things you have to double check. You're like, does this have to be in front of me the whole entire time?
Like me?
Yeah. Okay, mic check. Okay. No, you got to keep it here for the whole entire time.
Yeah. Do I put the headphones on? Do I want to look like, what's that thing called? Like Jigglypuff today, with the little chubby thing? Yeah.
We have some people on, and by the time the podcast is done, you see the rings around their head.
Yeah, it's all sweaty, like with the hair and stuff too.
Yeah, you look at like Spencer Cornelia, you know when he was just on a podcast that day because he has the rings across his hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can tell if anyone's been on a podcast that day.
Yeah.
I look for it.
I try not to have the headphones on just because I'm really cautious about like my earrings, like my piercings, and I just feel like it's so hot that I get all uncomfortable,
Well, it does a few things. So you can hear a little bit of feedback. You can hear your voice back. And to a lot of people who aren't used to that, it really throws them off, right? So we've had a lot of people, because who we interview the most are people who are flippers, investors. They're not social media people. Like when you see someone interviewed, unless say it's like Joe Rogan or, some big podcast that you really like, generally these are people who are in front of the camera a lot. Like, yeah, they're good at what they do, but they're also, you know what it's like when you're filming content, that's like its own job in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a skill of it. There's a learning curve of it. And these people are used to being in front of cameras. They're used to hearing their voices back. So they know what to do. So when they hear that little bit of feedback, they don't get thrown off by it. When I have people who've never been on a podcast before, but they're really successful. They make like over $1 million a year.
Yeah.
They're really good at what they do. They put on the headphones and it really throws them off. It is like when you put a sweater on a dog, how it like loses all of its personality and it doesn't want to move.
Or like the shoes when they can't walk.
Yeah, you put the shoes on it or on a cat and they just completely freeze up.
Yeah.
That's what the investors are like. And it's like plugging into the matrix. But for people who aren't used to it, it throws them off. But for people who are used to it, they want to hear how they're sounding like. Because, you know, I was just on Galindo's podcast last week. I noticed I moved a little bit like this and voice is completely gone. I'm like this, way too much gain. And I start having massive reverb throughout the system. So the people who know what they're doing love hearing the feedback and it doesn't throw them off.
Yeah, I think for me it's the mic distance too, because I was on another podcast as a guest, and I think the thing started moving away from me. I didn't realize it because I was on a chair, and I started sliding back because I got comfortable. So I started leaning, and then I think the chair just like got away from me, and then I was like this far. So like one of the guys had to come over and like push it into my mouth.
Yeah, you have to be aware of it.
So I'm still getting used to it, you know? He was like, make sure it's like this much. You're not like, your mouth is not on it or in it or what is it?
A fist away. But
a fist away.
That sounds dirty, but it's a fist away. But even if someone's gain is too high and they didn't adjust it, even if you go a little bit too high with your voice, maybe they adjusted the mic for them because they like to speak like this and they don't get too high. So when they adjust the gain, they adjust how the microphone sounds. Sounds perfect when they're talking just like this. And then when it goes a little bit higher, you get the reverb.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm used to like the lavs. And the thing I get stuck on is like the mic. It's near my necklace and my hair.
Ooh.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I try not to like move or something like that.
The things where it clips on?
Yeah, the little clip, like the little road.
I've done a whole podcast with one of those and the mic wasn't on.
No way.
It was all for nothing. Right?
Oh my God.
We only got audio off of like the base audio of the camera that's like over there.
So it's all echoey. Like it sounds super far.
It's terrible.
My second episode or my third episode was like that because it was a group shot. It was the 5 of us and we had 5 mics, but I think 2 of them kind of ran out of battery. So we just had the 2 mics like in front and it was like a boardroom. So it was a table. It's wood. So it bounced like a lot of sound.
Yeah.
Like I'm still going to post it just because I like the content. Like it's still just got to be going through the process, but that's what I learned because I listened to it.
Just to live in the shit.
Fuck yeah,
that's
dude.
What I like.
I love that shit. I'm like, this is progress.
I hate my first 2 episodes, but I don't delete them. I think I want to put on there, don't watch this. But then I know if I put in the comments, don't watch this. Like, don't watch this episode. I hate it. I will leave it up here just as a reminder that this is the first episode. Yeah. I think more people would watch it if I told them not to watch it.
Yeah. I think my first view was rough. Like when I had to watch it to like look at the edits and all that stuff, like the timestamps and stuff. I'm like, is that what I sound like and look like? Like you become very conscious of like your image, right? And I think you get over it by what, like episode 5, 10?
You never get over it.
You don't?
You never get over it.
Like, are you always aware of how you look on camera or how you sound?
Yeah. You're going to go to the gym right away. You're going to lose more. Like you might be like, I'm already skinny. You're going to be on a fucking diet. You know, when you start looking at the picture, yeah,
not a lot of people hear that coming from like a guy's perspective, right? Because girls are very cautious about what they wear or their image that they're putting off or something like that. Because I've shot with girls who they can't uncross their legs if they're wearing a dress, so they're sitting like this the whole time, just to make sure it's like the good leg, the good side, and whatever, you know.
Yeah, it matters. Yeah. Like everybody talks about how looks matter for women. We know that, but looks matter for men too. Like. If you take a look at the top 10 most successful realtors out there right now who are men, I mean, I think 3 or 4 of them were blatantly on steroids. Like blatantly, like the most swole jacked. They're, you know, maybe 45 or 50 now, so they don't have it as much. But they were as swole as they come. If you see pictures of them from 15 years ago, they all have fantastic hair, dress really sharp. Is that a coincidence?
No, like, sex sells.
No.
Physical appearance does matter, like in a court of law, in real estate specifically, too.
Yeah, you got to look the part. Like, who's the person who blew up faster than anybody in the past, like, year and a half? Andrew Tate. Would Andrew Tate have blown up if he didn't look like a professional kickboxer? If he was some fat, chubby dude with a neck beard, would he have blown up the way that he did? Nobody would give a fuck about what he had to say.
Yeah.
Could you imagine everything that came out of his mouth came out of someone who looks like, you know, just some chubby dude with a neck beard?
Yeah.
How it would sound like.
Chubby dude with the neck beard.
Yeah.
I can't unsee that right now, dude.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. But it came from him, which is why it resonates more.
Yeah. Because I think right before this, we were talking about Spencer's video, right?
Mm-hmm.
On your episode. Like, do you want to go through what happened? Is that a learning curve?
We filmed... we got a lot of criticism. Like, a lot of people are going to give you advice when you're new, right? Mm-hmm. And the best advice is never take advice. But a lot of people are going to give you advice. And one of the things that they said is, oh, Jay, you need super chats. You got to go live. Patrick but David goes live. These people go live. Fresh and Fit goes live. And they get all these, like, people just send you $10, $20, $30 to read off questions, right? So, okay, well, if everybody's going live, I'll go live too. Mm-hmm. We went live. Everything fucked up. It was just the worst. Like, it wasn't working the way it was supposed to. Nothing was going the way it's supposed to. Plus, in hindsight, a lot of people end up saying things that they don't want to leave in there. Like, a lot of people say things that they regret afterwards. They want it deleted. So, I mean, we went live. A lot of things screwed up. And then I rewatched it later that night. Because I love going live because that means it's instantly edited and put on YouTube that very moment.
Yeah.
I love it. There's no downtime. There's no editing time. There's no, this will get back to you in 3 days. It's right away.
Yeah.
So we did it and it couldn't be any worse.
Really?
So like I heard that if you delete things from YouTube, for some reason their algorithm hates you for it. So we turned the video invisible or private or whatever that is. We turned the video private and then we just shot it again the next week and it was way better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, way better.
Same content, like same format, same questions?
Yeah, same content, same format, same everything. But everything was more refined because I watched it 2 more times before I interviewed him again. And I got to see what was it that I said that I liked, what did I say that I didn't like.
So the difference between going live, I've only gone live once and I didn't watch it till like the next morning. And I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? It's because I think you black out somewhere in between too. Yeah. And I kind of forgot it was kind of live. So I guess I was in the moment. And then I was like, I don't remember talking about that shit.
Almost every time greatness is happening, you're blacking out while it's happening.
Really? Like, why do you think that is?
Because you're in the flow state. When you're in the flow state, like when Steph Curry's on a basketball court, he's doing his moves and he's dribbling in between people and then he goes out for a 3-pointer. He's not thinking about anything. He thinks while he's in practice. He thinks while he's in training. And you practice and you train and you practice and you train. And then when you go on the court, things are happening too fast to think. So it's all your reflexes. It's all what you train yourself to do. This is why I hate whenever anybody says, oh my God, it was just practice. Yeah, Michael Jordan said what you do in practice is what you do on the court. You got to treat practice like the full thing always. Because when you're doing it, like you're just blacking out. You're not thinking.
Yeah. So that is a good thing then.
Yeah.
It's like public speaking, right?
Yeah, public speaking, you just lose yourself.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're saying. You get in front of the microphone. Time's going to go by. I have no idea what's even going on right now. But I don't even have power what's coming out of my mouth right now. I'm just in the zone of what's happening.
And that I think that's a beautiful thing that people don't really understand about podcasting because they think it's like a structured interview thing. That's the mistake I made on my first one is I tried to have a script because I'm like, I don't know what it was. This was before I had the brand and the vision and like the understanding of what I wanted for my podcast. Like what is the value I'm trying to bring? And so I try to set up like 10 questions thinking like, oh, I've listened to a lot of podcasts, but this is what I'm curious about generally. But it wasn't about the person. And that's why the format now, it's so open. It's because I want to flow with the person. It's like you enter a zone together and everything just kind of naturally come to frequency, right? Yeah. That's the flow state you were talking about?
That's the flow state.
Because if I watch my first one, I cringe is because I'm like, oh man, I am way overthinking. I'm trying to focus on the question that's coming up next rather than connecting with the person, which is the superpower.
And one of the best things I ever heard was by a great real estate investor named Shelby Osborne. And she's like, you know, you're wondering what are people going to think? What are people going to hear? Should I release this? Is this good? Is this bad? You think people are actually going to watch your first fucking podcast? No one watches the first podcast. No one watches your first videos. Yeah. Like, do you think the whole, 100,000 people are going to watch like your first or second one? No one gives a fuck about you. Yeah. Just put it out.
They care about themselves. You're doing it for you, not for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody cares about you. You're going to get 20 views. You're going to get 80 views. It's okay. You just put it out there. And then people aren't going to tune in until later on anyways.
Yeah.
Nobody watched Joe Rogan at first. They watched him on like the 500th episode, not on the first and the second.
Yeah. What episode are you on right now?
Of what's released, I think we're at like 18 or 17. I think we're releasing a Nick Marietta one like tomorrow or something like that. Tomorrow. We didn't film the episode, but I just bought a new house. We're like, you know, we had a few in just in holding just to drop them, you know, for every few days. And then we're moving over to the new house. Rented out Richie Incognito's house, who's like a 4-time pro bowler. I call it the Bully House. So I didn't know who Bully House.
Bully.
I didn't know who Richie Incognito was, so I Googled him.
Yeah.
He's like 6'3", 6'4", 320 pounds.
Yeah.
Got in trouble for like bullying all of his teammates, like every team that he went to. He's like the biggest asshole, right? Like the biggest
I'm going to
asshole.
Google him after this.
Oh, you have to. He's just the biggest friggin' dude.
Yeah.
But he was the old owner of this house. And I used to play for the Raiders. And he got an Achilles injury, and then a few months later he got a calf injury. And he's already 39 years old, so he's just done. Right? So he moved back to Arizona. But I'm renting out his house right now. So got to move everything in there, switch the whole podcast studio up. But we'll have a way better scenery, I hope.
Yeah. How'd you get in contact with him for his house?
I mean, I negotiated a deal with a different, you know, I'm in the real estate community, so negotiate a deal with this person to that person to get it through.
It's always the touch points.
It took multiple people to arrange the deal that I end up getting. But it's pretty dope. I'm not gonna disclose all the insider secrets, but connections help.
Until we go there and film it.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm excited to have people over.
Is there a pool? Like, what's so cool about the house? Give me like the realtor walkthrough. You know, like the 20-second. Paint me a picture.
Super open and modern. It's either 5,000 or 6,000 square feet, but the new modern contemporary design style. And the designer was from Europe, designed it 2018 with. It's crazy. Everything that happens in Europe ends up coming to America like 3 or 4 years later. So the way that he designed it in 2018, waterfall Calcutta Islands. I didn't start using Calcutta in my flips till like 2021 because that's when it was popular, right? What were we doing in like 2018? We were still painting everything gray, right?
Yeah.
Everything was 50 shades of gray, lighter gray, darker gray.
And the whites
2018, he painted the whole thing white. What's popular right now, just this year, white. Nobody was painting anything white last year. They were all doing agreeable gray. He painted the whole thing white with the natural tones in the LVP. A crazy design style on all the accent walls. So how they ran the tile was evens, which we were always doing thirds or halves, meaning like if you have a 12 by 24 tile, halves is like it starts at the half and it's laid like bricks.
Yeah.
And then thirds is like every third it kind of lines up. Right? It started to be more popular to lay things in ones. Like only recently. He was doing that in 2018, right? Just crazy. For someone who designs a lot of houses and flips a lot of houses, this is super impressive. I might be just boring everyone to tears right now because this is super interesting to me.
Yeah.
But maybe not to them. But European cabinets, which right now European cabinets are in. 2018.
What's European cabinets?
You'll probably know white shaker, right? European cabinets are the ones that might have the wood design on it. So they'll have like a wood tone, wood design.
Okay.
It's not like just white, black, or gray.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a single tone. There's like a design to it. There's not a shaker pattern. It's just like a flat face.
Okay. I'm trying to think at my house what I have because I'm not as into cabinets as, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just know the colors like smoky maple or something like that.
But all the bathrooms are super dope. Everything, every bedroom, like 5 bedrooms, every bedroom has its own bathroom. Like the pool's modern with like a dope hot tub and all that. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, man.
Yeah. When we have people over, you'll see it.
Yeah. And congrats on the 18th episode. I think I heard... Was it on Instagram or something? Someone sent it to me. Like most podcasts, I give up around the 21st episode. That was one of the milestones I wanted to hit too.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because you're just not getting a lot of traction as you think. Like the Grant Cardone book, 10X Rule, a lot of people dismiss it as being corny.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing he said is whatever you think that you need to be successful, you need to do 10 times more. You think you're just going to make a few calls to sellers and they're just going to sell you their houses. You need to do 10 times more calls to sellers. You need to do 10 times more flips, 10 times more podcasts, 10 times more everything. And like, you need to flood it. Like, you're not good. No one's going to watch your early episodes. But I mean, I'm already rich, so I don't have to start the game at level 1. I spent money in ads. I spent money on Google ads. I've been banned from Google ads.
Why?
Because, when I run the podcast as an ad, I'm not filming like a 1 or 2 minute thing. I'm running the whole hour-long podcast as an ad that appears in front of your YouTube or on the side of your screen.
Like until people click out, right? Like the skip ad?
Yeah. So
I didn't
it's
know
not
that.
very effective, but with all the technology that there is right now, they can get a transcript of what we say because they can hear what we say. They can get the text version of it. If we say a word like the C word, the big flu that happened 3 years ago, which we'll say it as like a placeholder in time. So on YouTube, your video won't get banned, but you can't run a Google ad that has the word COVID in it. So because...
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, but boom, red flag, violating community guidelines, violating the AdWords, violating all that stuff. I've had multiple red flags at this point.
Holy fuck, I didn't even know that.
And I noticed the views on my one last video was down too. And I think I didn't check it yet, but I'm pretty sure I got banned again on that one. Because we said, what did you do when COVID happened? So then you say, that's just a placeholder in history.
Yeah.
Just like 9/11 is a placeholder in history. Just like 2008 is a placeholder in history. These are the major events that happen that you reference to, right?
Yeah.
Especially people in our age group. And if you just say, what did you do when COVID happened? You can't run that shit as a Google ad. Nothing to do with COVID. Even if you're not talking about it.
Yeah.
But they don't know better. They just hear the word. So I've repealed a few. Appealed, not repealed.
Yeah.
But I always get banned anyways.
It's interesting. So do you run like your own comment section and stuff too? What do you notice most in there? Is there a lot of hate, positive?
I don't know. Some people just say good job. I don't read the comments.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think that's one of the advice I got. It's like, don't pay attention to the comments. I'm like, but I want to
Yeah.
talk to people. Like, they think they're trolls. I'm a troll too. What if I just troll them harder? I'm just kidding.
Well, I wanted to troll when I had Spencer Cornelia on. People trolled to say, fix the TV, by the way, if you can. When I had Spencer Cornelia on, people were trolling saying like, oh, broke person giving real estate advice, or like, people trolled on him hard. He has a group of haters that go around and troll him nonstop. But I wanted to say some things that were flagrant.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to be like, yeah, that's what he said when he was banging your mom or something like that. But I'm like, no, don't do it, Jay. Do the Ben Franklin thing. Just write an angry letter. Wait till the next day and then see if you still want to send it. And you don't.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't write out a text or a letter, but I thought about what I wanted to say. I waited till the next day. I still wanted to say it, but I'm like, you know what? You're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah. I think that's like almost the 5-5-5 rule. If it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes like marinating in it or something.
Yeah.
Is that the saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't even envision like being mad. Do you know what I mean? Like reading other people's comment that you don't know.
That's really wise.
And that's also, it comes down to like online bullying too. And I think that's another fear that I had before starting a podcast is I think because I was bullied when I was younger, and the fear of being seen and being validated, because social media has a lot of stigma around, you're doing it for validation, you're doing it to be seen.
Yeah.
Right. But the whole point of it, it's like, yeah, like we're doing it to be seen for our authenticity, not be seen for like this performative mask that everyone else is wearing.
This is one of the things that I struggle with, and I can tell that you have done some reading on this and some reading in whether it's philosophy, stoicism, psychology, whatever. But I read so many books, and in all those books they say, don't care about what these things think, don't live your life in comparison, don't do that, and they really teach you how to be grounded. But with all these things, it makes it so that you're not very good at social media, because if you don't care about what people think, why are you posting?
Exactly.
right? Like you kind of lose your motivation to post because you don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. I don't post things because I just don't care. I'm stuck in my own business. I'm doing what I want to do, and I don't care about anyone else's validation. But then at some point, like a lot of books tell you about like ego death, like kill the ego. It's not a good thing, but sometimes you need your ego. Like
ego is not a bad thing.
Yeah, like you need your ego to post. You need your ego to have Fit and Frugal be the biggest podcast that ever existed.
Self-belief, right?
Like that's a cocky thing to do. Like you need that.
Yeah.
So at what point, I mean, I've had to re-explore how to get an ego and how to be a little bit petty about things. Really? I should lean into it more. I'm going to fucking troll everybody in the comment section.
No, I think that's a really great point you brought up, is because it is a really big distraction, because I feel like there's all this like talk about dopamines, like you're just on it, doom scrolling, all that shit, right? That scares people. And for me as an introvert, it is very distracting, because once I post something and I just notice my phone notifications is just like going off or whatever, and then you don't really realize it till later, but you're actually ignoring like important messages on top of all the little noise, like the likes and stuff like that. And the thing with the ego is that it's actually trying to protect us. It's because that's who you are, in a sense of like, that's still you. Like that's, I mean, people call it darkness, right? But it's not really true darkness. Darkness, if you've done enough shadow work to understand how to like work with your ego, to use your ego, not for good, but for noticing when it's there, like when it's in the presence of you, acting on behalf of you, you're actually surviving a situation that's not really meant for you, because you're not in alignment in that moment.
Interesting. So when you're leaning into your ego, you're it's not good is what you're saying.
Like I feel like, you know, listen to your gut intuition, right? Because you want to do more soul enriching activities, like have better conversations, have better relationships, have better flow with like the universe, right? Tapping into your true frequency. But at the same time, once your ego shows up, I feel like it's a reminder that it's like, hey, this side of you doesn't like this situation.
Interesting.
You know, how do you feel about that?
So
death of ego is terrible. That's a terrible thing to say.
Yeah.
I did say that during 2020, 21.
I think, I mean, it's something I struggle with, because everything that my ego does, I'm naturally, and it's something that I have had to put a lot of work in, I'm naturally a one-upper. So if I allow my ego to exist, I have to be better than you. Like I just moved into a 5,000 square foot house because I have to metaphorically whip my dick out and say I got the biggest in the room. I have to, right? Like it's, I can't stop it. I have to flip more houses than you. I have to make more money than you. For everybody who said, Jay, you were supposed to go to college. Jay, you were supposed to do these things. Jay, why didn't you go to college? Why didn't you get good grades? Everyone who was yelling at me in high school because I had a terrible school experience, because I didn't put any effort into school, right? I could still ace the test because anything I hear, I remember. So, but I didn't do any work for it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have to just do better than them to prove them wrong. I have to do so much better than them that it's completely unrelatable. There has to be such a bigger house, such an amount of cars, such a lifestyle with so much more money that they couldn't even imagine what it's like to be me. Any teacher who said, Jay, you didn't study enough, Jay, you didn't put any work into this. I make so many times more than what a teacher makes that it isn't even worth having the argument.
And that's also a really sad thing about institutional education too.
Yeah.
Because I did go back to college when I was 26 too, but for different reasons. It was an Asian parent thing. Yeah. They didn't realize I dropped out at 18 and they're like, where's your college degree? You're like, what degree?
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story. But I do agree with you on succeeding in the material world, right?
There's a meme, and it's like type B personality. Like, I want to be an astronaut. And then type A personality, just like that person smiling. Type A personality is like angry at them, does this, aces class, go to NASA, go to the moon. And they did it just to spite them, just to one-up them. Yeah. That is who I am. And I have to work on not being that. That's what I feel like. But then I feel like now that I'm putting out content out there, I have to lean into it. But if I let it go too far, then I'm a douche at that point. Yeah. It's always a struggle between, is this my ego that makes me better? or is this my ego towards just plain douchey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you notice when you're being an asshole? Like, do you catch yourself?
Not always, sometimes, but not always. Because I'm from East Coast, one thing, so
Yeah.
being an asshole is how we showed love.
Yeah.
Busting your balls, talking a little bit of shit to you,
Being really sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how there's love in the air, is when there's shit talking.
Yeah, that is a love language.
Yeah.
Memes and shit talking.
Yes.
We can't be friends if you can't take a little joke, right?
Yeah. The West Coast, like, oh my God, explore your feelings. I fucking hate it.
Fuck you. I'm all for that too.
Be nice to people. People want to hear nice things.
No, but I do understand that because I'm from the East Coast and I was in hospitality. So it's about fucking like sucking dick your whole entire fucking career and shit. So, and I think that's where a lot of people pleasing patterns. California, the nicest. I mean, West Coast. Did I say East Coast?
West Coast, yeah.
I grew up on the East Coast in Virginia. Like when I first came here as an immigrant, but like that did not fly well with my mom because there was too many white people where we lived, and she was kind of culture shocked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that was a big difference about hospitality, and it kind of shapes you. That's why it's really interesting seeing that you duck crap, so you deal with people and their emotions and like the gambling and
it was all hospitality. I was trying to run away from customer service for so long. I mean, like from the moment that I was kicked out of school, I just got right into being a bus person at Applebee's, then waiter there, and I was a waiter at like 8 different restaurants, and then I got into the casino, but all that's customer service, right? And I'm like, I don't want to do customer service, but then became a realtor, which is just customer service.
Yeah.
And then the closest thing to not being customer service is being a flipper. But then even being a flipper, there's still a point where you have to sell. There's still a point where you have to work with customers. No matter what you do, there's a point where you have to sell.
You're still working with vendors too. It's all relationship based anyways.
Yeah.
Your contractors, all of that.
And I'm great at customer service. I'm the best at it.
Is that your ego talking?
It is. It might be. Shit, I don't even know anymore.
Dude, I just saw it come out right now.
Yeah, but
it's just like I'm the best at everything.
But like I'm really good at it. If you don't believe me, just ask me. But like I don't want to do it. Like I don't want to. It's disingenuous to be nice to someone when you're getting something out of it. It's only genuine when you're nice to someone and you're not getting something out of it. So that's why like I don't want to get things out of people by being nice to them. I want like this is just
because that's manipulation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's tone that ego down a notch and tell me what's the worst flip you've ever done that like you want to cry about.
The worst one, man. I've had a flip burned down on me.
Shut up.
And it was the only flip that I didn't take insurance on. So
what?
That was in Pahrump. But that wasn't even the worst one. I still made money off that.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you sell the land?
Because the house was already so beat up that I think some like vandals just went in and like burned it down because they like disrespected it.
Yeah.
But like I bought it for pennies on the dollar, right? Like they thought it was unsavable. I knew I could save it, but I didn't put any money in yet. So I still sold the land. So
yeah.
And it still had a little shed on it. So I still made some money. But the most money that I lost was actually one that I bought in like, it was either May or June of 2022 in Summerlin. Never got broken into. Like, I get broken into over 20 times a year. Like, I have awful things happen every single year. And nothing bad happened to it. No major events, no major catastrophes, no major floods. Just the market started going down so fast, so quickly that we got into escrow at like 560 or something like that. Took a while in escrow. And then the interest rates went up. Then they no longer afforded it. Then it came back on market. Got into escrow again at like 550. But then they backed out because they got scared because of the rates. And then I think like maybe one more time or something like that. And but by the time that we got back onto market, like it was falling so crazy that we ended up settling at $490,000.
So how much money were you at?
Between all the holding costs, because the holding costs ate me up.
Yeah.
Because overtime is over budget.
Yeah. How many months?
So,
like 9 months? 6 months?
Yeah. In total, I think I held it for like about 8 months or 9 months. And I ended up losing about like 40 grand off it. Because it's a higher price point. So everything was more money. The mortgage
Yeah.
was more money.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of renting the staging, all the utilities, like it added up quick.
So what did you do? Wait, what was interest rates around that time? It was like 5.
From the time
8?
that I bought it, it was still like 2.8 or like 3% interest rates.
Uh-huh.
But obviously, as a flipper, I'm paying like between 9 and 10.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it was paying like 9% interest rate on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, by the time that it was sold, I think the person got like a 6.5% interest rate.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that like affected the cost.
Yeah.
But even that one, even though I lost most money off that, that's not the one that haunts me the most. So
Which
like,
one?
That one in Summerlin, even though that was like
Yeah.
the most I lost the most on. But if you're saying which one haunts me the most,
Mm-hmm.
I say off of like Eastern and DI is one to where bought it in the middle of COVID, couldn't evict the tenants who were there. I got to evict the one because he had a heroin overdose.
In the house.
In the house. So because there's a police report, that made it. So I guess it's sad that he had a heroin overdose, but it's fantastic to me. I put this on silent mode for. So even though it's terrible that he had a heroin overdose, I guess, still when there's a police report filed, that means that even if there is COVID restrictions, now you get to evict because you get to evict in record time if they're ever breaking the law, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, got them out, paid for the other people to get out. We got broken into 2 or 3 more times. Then we got broken into a time where I had to pull a gun on this lady and her dog, sprayed her dog with pepper spray because the dog was going to bite me.
Oh my God.
And then she's like sticking to her guns. I'm like, you know, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, the owner rented this place to me. What are you doing here? I'm like, I am the owner. You know, she's like, show me paperwork. I'm like, you show me paperwork. I'm the owner. So she stuck to her guns. She just kept on lying the whole time. Cops came, arrested her. Through all the times that I was renovating this house, everything that could have went wrong. Like multiple break-ins, multiple homeless problems, multiple issues with the house, multiple contractor issues, construction issues, electric issues. I had to replace the whole entire roof. Then after we replaced the whole roof, it rains, it leaks again in the new roof. You're like, but it's brand new. Yeah, it leaked.
Yeah.
And I still end up making 50 grand off it.
That's such a painful 50K that I'm hearing right now.
It was the worst, but because things were going up so much, so fast. When did I sell that? Early 2022 or late 2021? Either way, it might have been like early 2022, but the market was going up so much, so fast that like the after repair value just went through the roof. Which is why all the flippers who were in Vegas at that time were walking around so cocky, right?
Yeah.
They were walking around like, oh, yeah, I'm making all this money. I went to a real estate event, and the guy who hosted it is like, this is why we get top value at all of our neighborhoods, because we do flips like this. I'm like, buddy, there's people whose cabinets are from the 1990s who set record prices in their houses. Like
Yeah.
the market is crazy right now. Don't get high on your own supply.
Yeah.
As much as I was saying that there is ego and stuff like that with me, I know when I'm getting lucky. Like the market was going up so much so fast, and everybody was riding that wave. But you had to recognize that it was luck. That's not something that's going to continue going up 1.5% month over month.
Yeah.
Like a $500,000 house is worth $515 2 months from now. Insane.
Yeah, I like that where you can pick up your ego too. Like it's because it takes a lot of self-awareness
Yeah.
to be able to dial into who you are, especially when you're making money, like to fund your lifestyle too, right?
Yeah.
Because you're mentioning like, yeah, that was a painful $50,000 or whatever that you actually made. How would you describe your lifestyle? Like switching over from hospitality to now flipping full time?
I mean, I was always super frugal. So like how I started, how I came to Vegas was at the casino on the East Coast, work and save, spent almost none of my money. And then when I came out here, I had $26,000 or $28,000 in the bank. So I got to put 3.5% down on my first house, FHA, and then 20% down on a condo, right? Then the whole time I'm in the casinos, I'm probably saving 80% of my money, maybe 70% of my money at least. So by the time that, or maybe only 60% really, but by the time that I got to, real estate, I had all this money to invest in leads, right? I had like $100K in the bank. You know, I had a lot to. Most people, when they become a realtor, they have to join a team. I could just throw money at leads, throw money at whatever I wanted to make it happen, right? And when you leave a consistent job to go into real estate, it's scary because you've never made a dollar. Like when you're getting an hourly wage, you're getting an hourly paycheck, and that's addicting. But you know that hourly paycheck is there every single week. Yeah. Right. And even though it's tips, it fluctuates, but still, you know, it's there. Yeah. Right. Your tips are going.
You know, roughly.
Your tips are only going to fluctuate so much.
You're walking away with a couple thousand at least a week or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I became a realtor, and especially when I quit my job, right? Because I'm like, let's see how it is to be a realtor full time. I put in a leave of absence. I'm like, if I can get 2 houses in the contract in this month, then I'm quitting the job. Because that means I'm tripping over dollars, picking up pennies, right? Let's get rid of it. So at the end of that month, I put a $630,000 house into escrow. So that's $18,900. And then a $250,000 house, which was $7,500. So I'm like, okay, I'm quitting. So when I quit, even though I was making the money, there's no guarantee of this. There's no guarantee of anything. So I conserved so much. But then, you know, another year or two goes by. You're making more commissions. Things are flowing. You have more certainty. But then you go into flipping. And flipping is capital intensive as hell. So 2017, I started flipping. I sold that first house, got $140,000 back from title. Then I sold the second house, 2018, got $80,000 back from title. So now I got money to work with on top of all the money that I saved. And so I'm buying one house, I sell it, I buy 2 more. Now I'm flipping 2 houses at a time. I sell one, I buy 2 more. Flipping 3 houses at a time, I sell one, I buy 2 more. And I was playing the most reckless game of Monopoly you've ever seen. Every time I was selling a house, I was buying 2 more houses. Yeah. So even though I was making all this money on paper, I didn't increase my expenses at all. Yeah. Like I gave nothing to myself. And then, 2021 was the first year that I guess I got a little lucky and made $840,000 that year. And then last year, things didn't go as well as what they should have. So I made around like $790,000 last year. And I increased my expenses a bit. But it wasn't until I bought a new car last year. But it wasn't until this past month that I just rented out that mansion. Yeah. But I'm only renting out this mansion. One, because I need a mansion. But because I had like $450,000 in equity in the house that I bought in 2017. So I got to take all this money out. Yeah. But I only spend, even though I'm making all this money, I don't spend barely any of it. Like I was living off of 10% of my income for that whole entire time. Yeah. For real.
That was like 5 years, right? 5-ish years until this year.
It's short-term pain for long-term gain. Like flipping takes so much money to run it that I had to have all this as ammo. You need reserves. You need, what about when things go wrong? What about when you hold things for longer? And you know what? Things always go wrong. Yeah. You're always holding at least 1 or 2 of your properties for longer than what you thought. And when you're doing 10 or 12 houses at a time, there's always a few where something major break-ins, major floods.
Do you have any squatters?
All the time.
All the time?
All the time, yeah.
What do you do? Just walk in, gun them out, or what?
Depending on where it's at in the renovation. Like sometimes you buy it with the squatters, and that's how you got the deal to begin with. If you have squatters in the middle of the renovation and there's nothing in there, then the cops will kick them out because they're like, oh, I'm renting here. Dude, there's no toilet. There's no kitchen. There's no... How could you say you live here when there's nothing here? Yeah. But then when it looks like a home, then if they want to go in and squat, they have more of a leg to stand on. They're more like... But I haven't had anybody... I've been broken into after it's been renovated, But after it's been renovated, we've always had either security cameras or realtors are checking up on it so they see the person squatting. My assistant, me, someone's always going in and catching it within a reasonable amount of time to where they don't get the squatter laws. So we can call the cops to kick them out. Yeah,
but you've never been under like imminent danger or anything, right?
Well, yeah, I've been under imminent danger, but...
Like, do they come at you? That's what I'm afraid of. I don't think I have the balls to do it, man.
Yeah, so like Desert and Mobile Estates, one of my contractors, so we had the one guy come back to break in all the time, and we ended up finding out it was the person who got evicted there from before. So he was a bully, and the next door neighbors who I hired to clean out the place said that he went over, he recognized that someone from that street is the one doing the clean out. In his head, he's like, you're against me. Because people who do bad things, they think everyone's out to get them, right? When you do drugs, you think fucked up shit. Yeah. So he's like, he grabbed their wallet, like real tough dude, grabbed their wallet and took it. I think he took like their ID or something like that and said, you leave all my shit right in front of the house. If you take any more of my shit, I'm going to fucking kill you or something to that extent, right?
Holy shit, dude.
And so I go over there and then I go to talk to him. I have my gun on me and... He goes and like he goes out to me and he's like, I put the gun in his face. Now I pulled my gun on people probably like 3 times before that, and every other time they've said no beef or they walk away or they run away. This is the first person I pulled my gun on, and he says, "Shoot me, motherfucker, shoot me," and he's kept on walking towards me. So I'm in the middle of the street. I'm in the middle of the street on a road. Yeah. If I was in a house, then I'd have a leg to stand on. Yeah. But you can't say you're in imminent danger if you're in the middle of the street because you're probably the person who's starting it. So I walked up, I walked back, I went to my car, we had a conversation, and he ended up leaving them alone. But it was from that day where I started carrying pepper spray with me all the time. So now when people say shoot me, now I spray them with the pepper spray.
How many people have you sprayed?
Only one person.
Only one person?
Yeah. And that was the person at that place off of DI and Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like the dog that tried to bite you.
Yeah. And then it's soft situation. But also I spray it when I think there's, sometimes I'll walk into a house, the attic will be open or think there's someone there. I'll spray the pepper spray because I know that they can't help but reveal their position if they are there. Yeah. So it's like a better way to...
You kind of gas them out kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a better way to make sure for sure that there's no one there. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's some intense shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's been a few more times than that. I mean, that's just like one of the more fun stories, but there's been a lot to where the people really hated me. And they look at me because I'm evicting them like I'm the person doing it. And like last year, 3 times people have shit on the floor before they left the house.
What?
Yeah. I evicted them and they're upset at me for evicting them. So they shit on the floor. And they do it like in funny ways. Like look at my hands. They're smooth. I'm not doing, you think I'm doing the fucking clean out myself? I'm not doing the clean out. Like it's my contractors who you're offending right now. Yeah. So they'll like shit on the floor, they'll cover it with the shirt, and then the contractors who I pay to clean it out, they'll be like grabbing things off the floor, they'll grab a shirt, it's all squishy, and then like gooey poop comes out of it. And then they call me and they're like, Jay, they shit on the floor and they put it in the shirt and all this and they did this and this. We hate this house. And I'm over there trying to hold back a laugh like, oh man, that sounds terrible, but it's so fucking funny.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. All you did was make it so I have a great story. I love that you shit on the floor. I don't care. I'm not doing this myself.
Oh my God.
I'll give my contractors a tip because I feel bad about it now. But
yeah, because imagine if oh my God, I can't imagine if I did that.
Oh my God. In the early houses, I would do the demo and the cleaning out myself just to save on money, but I don't do that nowadays. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, because I think on social media, all the flips are so glamorized.
Yeah.
Like they'll start sharing like horror stories and stuff now, but everything's always like before and after.
It's not. People love showing the victories, but flipping is not victories. Yeah. What flipping is, and what I don't like about them showing victories, is you're enticing people to flip who shouldn't be flipping. Because you need to have the stomach for flipping. Because everything is gonna be bad until the finished product, and the finished product is glamorous. But every step along the way until that final photo is all you dealing with shit. Either metaphorical or literal in this case.
Yeah. And you've dealt with both.
Yeah.
Fucked.
Like, and everything that happens, it's your fault. You're the one who has to take care of the problems. Even on houses that I've taken on partners with, I'm still the one who has to take care of all the problems because they don't have the fucking stomach for it. They think it's going to be like HGTV.
Yeah.
And then real things happen. I'm like, you're not being reliable right now. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's exactly the shit that I want to talk about with flipping too.
Yeah.
Because I went into real estate thinking I can flip a house. I walked a couple flips. I'm like, fuck this, I'm out.
No.
So I did a couple of demos and I'm like, this is not for me. It's just not my style, you know?
In some of those more hostile situations, I mean, at least I'm a dude, but still, even when I go to like some of these places to where we have to talk to the person on drugs and try to negotiate them to get out, or they're really angry and they're threatening to hurt people around them, I have to bring people who are like 250, 260 pounds, like just like, you know, people who look more tough than me, which is everybody really, but I need to bring people who look more tough than me to help me negotiate and navigate the situation.
Damn, I'm still marinating in your shit story. I don't know.
Marinating in the shit.
I'm marinating in the shit, dude.
That's actually funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's happened.
Yeah.
It's funny how many times that's happened.
How many times? Do you remember?
3.
3?
Yeah, 3 times. Just in the last, just in 2022.
God damn, dude.
And I even posted something on social media. Like, man, everybody of just like a month and a half ago, there was shit on the carpet of one of my houses. But that one, it turned out an animal just came in the house through one of the doggy doors and shit and left. But it was still funny though, because shit's always funny.
Yeah. So what's next for you? I know you're doing the podcast. Like, what do you see yourself doing next?
You know, dig your well before you're thirsty. And I think that I can flip houses at about 40 or 50 a year. Right now I'm between 20 and 30 a year. But after I'm at the 40 to 50 a year, at that point it'll start getting difficult. You can do it, but you need a larger team in operation. And every person that you hire is another person that you have to manage, right? So, I mean, I think 40 to 50 is the sweet spot. And what am I going to do after that, right? Like that's when I'm capped out, I feel. So I think after that, in the investing space, I'll probably go more into development. So I might do new homes, and I think I could scale that a little bit bigger to where maybe buy big lots to where I could just create 20 new homes on it. And I could use all the skills that I have now of managing a contract, negotiating deals, negotiating terms, negotiating all the right things and getting financing. But other than that, the podcast is, when I'm at that 40 to 50 deals, I'm going to have a little bit more influence, and I'm going to have to be able to reach out and find people for my next project. I would love if people just came to me, like, we would love to either be partners with you, or we have all the right tools to do this, or we have, you know, just having that influence and putting it out there of being an investor. And when you're an investor, you don't get hundreds of thousands of views, but you have fans and not just viewers, right? Like, you know, Spencer Cornelia, one of his struggles on his channel, on his main channel, that he gets 60,000 views a video, is that no one will buy from him on that channel. He's putting out gossip. He's calling out fake gurus and stuff like that. You know, oh, I sell Amazon, you know, how to do Amazon FBA and all this stuff, and this is how you can make $100,000 a month. And they flex in front of a Lamborghini, but they don't make that. Like, that's just what comes in, but they're just trying to get you to buy their course. So he's like, I can't sell anything on my first channel. So he's creating a second channel as a way to sell, as a way to get people to be a fan of him, as a way to get people to know him better.
Yeah.
And I'm creating my channel as a way of, like, I think that's what I would do for free. Like, if you got paid the same amount for everything, having a YouTube channel, putting out podcasts, having high-level conversations with people, and, like, talking to interesting people, that's what I would do for free.
Yeah.
And then all the connections that come with that are just great. But I want to make those connections now before I need it, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be bored out of my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like Josh Galindo was, just successful as hell, flipping all the houses. And then he's like, 14 years in, it's like, man, I got to start now. And he should have started earlier.
Yeah.
If the earlier you start, the more it can snowball, the more you could work out where you need more help, the more you could work out what your viewers like. And you can really hone in of what makes the best channel. And I just want to have interesting conversations with interesting people and, just have the right connections from that standpoint, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to have you on this journey, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were that frugal.
Yeah.
That's the thing I was really interested about.
Super frugal.
It's like people's lifestyle and how they actually got to where they are is because like people think financial freedom is just a number, but once you hit that number and then what,
Yeah.
It's like you're on a mission to get there. You get there. If you're not happy, then.
But like from all the people who supposedly make all that money, there's so many to where they're not spending any of it. If you read the book Shoe Dog of the guy who created Nike, every single year he'd make an order of like for 10,000 in China and then sell all those shoes. Then his next order, he's buying, 20,000 shoes. Then he sells them all. Then he buys 60,000 shoes. He sells them all. He buys 120,000 shoes. He sells them all. He buys 400,000 shoes. He sells them all. And he has all this revenue coming in, all this money coming in. But he has to open a new store. He has to hire new employees. He has to hire new this. He goes to the bank to get some loans. They're looking at him, and they're like, you don't have any reserves. This is really dangerous. You're growing too fast. And he's like, what do you mean I'm growing too fast? Isn't that a good thing? This is a business. And they're like, no, dude, you don't have any reserves. You're really dangerous. If one thing went bad, you wouldn't have anything to back it up. So he was dealing with financial strife after financial strife every single year until the day he went public. And the day he went public was when he was finally like, I'm finally rich now. I don't have to deal with this by myself. I finally have all the money to back this and to deal with all my lawsuits and to deal with all these companies. And on the early first 5 years of owning a business, probably all your money will be poured back into it.
Yeah.
That's why I had to rent a new place, because I'd have flippers coming into my house and the flipper's house needs flipping. And they'd be like, Jay, what is this? Like, your cabinets are bad. Like, there's bad work here.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man. I had bad contractors on the first year.
Yeah.
And they screwed everything up. But if you really want to grow, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. And you have to sacrifice for the later on. But yeah, that's what I say.
That is exactly like the motto of Fit and Frugal Life, right?
Fit and frugal.
Well, thanks for sharing your time with me today.
Awesome.
And it's like a really valuable resource.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
This energy is like so amazing. Like it's a little high, marinating and shit. You know what else today?
I love that. I love that. I love showing it.
Yeah.
I'm fucked up. I think the most worst things are the funniest.
Yeah.
When people post good things on Instagram or something like that, I'm like, yeah, everybody has that. When someone posts something awful, then I love it.
It's like something like everyone's riding on that high like all the fucking time.
Yeah.
That's why everyone's so sad, because they're trying to compare themselves to that and they're never ever going to get there.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, I like that. That's why I like Doja Cat. She posts pictures of her being like weird. Just like weird stuff. Like, why'd you post that on the internet? You're famous as hell. Yeah. But she just does it. It's the weirdest stuff.
It's authenticity. I think that's it. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yeah. I think. Oh, I like that. Bars.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. It comes down to like who you vibe with and who truly sees you for you and understands you. Yeah. And that's what separates like belonging and fitting in. Because fitting in is just doing socially acceptable things, while belonging, it means that you are truly seen and accepted for you and you belong in that community. And that's what I hope to build. So thanks for being on this journey, dude.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that's it for us today. Again, I am your host, Tawni Nguyen. If you want to connect more, you can find me on IG at Tawnisaurus. And Jay, you can find him at
Vegas Flipper J on Instagram or youtube.com/@thepapertrails.
Cool. That's it for us. Peace.